Did someone just drop a box off? Let's go get it. Why don't you bring it inside?
Oh, wow.
You can't get it? Hey, there's a bunny rabbit. Did you see him? We're not catching it. We got to bring this inside. Come on. Let's go. Pick it up. Use your knees. I'll hold this side. You get that side. Get over there. Over there. Yep. Just pick it up at the end. There you go. You got it. You got it. Don't drop it on your feet. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Or is it too big?
All right. Let Daddy get it.
Okay.
That says the Hangar RC. Let's go. All right. Ooh, buddy. Like Christmas morning. Bam! The mud pit. Look at that guy. That's going to be awesome. What else we got? The valley. This thing is huge. Oh, hold on. Let's. Jeez. All right, hold on. Oh my God. What a perfect time to be getting new crawler Trax obstacles. It just started snowing outside, and so it's pretty exciting to be able to have some cool stuff to run indoors. This video, we're doing this guy. This is the mud pit. Yeah, this thing's awesome. This is the most expandable obstacle that they have made yet. It basically, you can make it as big as you want to buy kits for. Each kit comes with two kind of little bases. Really, you need to have both, though. You can see it here, and we'll show that more later, but you could buy like 5 of these things and be huge. I've seen them set up some pretty big courses or, obstacles using the mud pit for their displays and stuff, and they're pretty impressive. So it's cool that this is expandable as much as you'd like. If you want to keep it small, keep it small. If you want to go nuts and make it huge, or do like 2 drag race lanes and stuff like that for mud bogging with monster trucks, you can do that too. We're going to tear into this guy. We're going to build it. It's got a lot of little parts and pieces, but it's very simple to put together. It's pretty straightforward. You probably don't even need this video to put it together, but we'll try to point out some of the less obvious stuff and show you what it's all about. All right, first thing we're going to do is open this guy up, get our plastic wrap off. Oh, I love the smell. It smells like firewood. Absolutely love it. Here's the mud pit information card. You can always scan this here for the official build video. Go ahead and read this thing. You can pause, check it out if you want. This is a build difficulty level 5, not because it's actually that difficult, but just because it's got so many parts. And then an obstacle difficulty of 2 out of 5. It's going to depend on what you put in the pit, I think, that makes it difficult. More and less difficult. What's cool is these in and out ramps are adjustable, so you can make them more difficult or less difficult to get up into the pit if you'd like. So the adjustability of the difficulty is pretty good on this one. So I like that. If you haven't checked out some of the other crawler Trax products and videos that we have, definitely check out our video right over here, up in the little info card, and yeah, you'll see the other obstacles that we've got that we did videos on. All right. Here's our graphics and our awesome sticker. Go ahead and set the graphics aside for right now. You will have to do some gluing. And then here's our different sheets. Okay, we have 4 different sheets here. And we're just going to pop these guys out. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. A lot of this stuff should be very easy to pop out. We've given some feedback to the Hangar and crawler Trax about making it a little easier to pop these things out. Some of the previous Trax obstacles were kind of difficult to get to pop out without feeling like you're going to break things. So they readjusted how their lasers did some stuff and made it so it's a little bit easier to pop out. We still have the old version, but the newer versions, they're probably just going to fall right out as soon as you open it, which is nice because it makes it a little bit easier. Another thing while you're popping this kind of stuff out, don't be scared to break this stuff, part of the sprue essentially. breaking that stuff away definitely makes it easier to pop this stuff out. If you ever do break any of these, remember, this is wood. You can glue it back together. Use super glue or white glue or wood glue, whatever you like. Also, if there's any imperfections in the wood, because again, it's a natural material, there could be hollow spots and things like that. If you ever have any issues and you don't think that glue will just fix it, or you feel like you want a brand new piece, I guess, reach out to Crawler Trax. They're very good about customer service and taking care of everybody if you have any defects in the wood. But if you break it, trying to pop something out, you should just be able to glue it back together, no problem. So like I said, first thing we're going to do is we're going to pop all this out, and then I'm going to show you about gluing, because you want to get gluing as soon as you can. The soonest you can start gluing this stuff on, the sooner you'll be able to finish the build, because you can't put things together until these are dry. So we're going to pop this stuff out, and then we're going to glue. I also want to show some little tips and tricks with popping out smaller bits here. Let me show you here. So another little tip and trick. These little guys right here, or other extra pieces that are kind of square, if you use one you've popped out, it makes it easier to pop the others out. You can just kind of push them down in there, and that'll get your piece to come right out a little bit easier. Same when you're like punching out these out of the other brackets, just use the piece to do it. Makes it super easy. You can also use a screwdriver, flathead, Phillips head. Just need some sort of tool to help push things out. Makes it a lot easier. As you're punching this stuff out, try to stack everything into piles of similar type stuff. We call these hoodoo brackets, and you'll notice eventually when we get there why they're called hoodoos. There's a hoodoo. Well, we'll talk about it later. It's a type of terrain, and this has little pieces that simulate hoodoos, and these are the brackets that hold those on. When you get to these bigger base pieces, they're kind of like puzzle pieces, just kind of work it back and forth. Just kind of give it a little twist back and forth. You'll hear it kind of cracking and breaking loose the braces that are holding the wood in, and then you can slowly try to push it out. Try to be even as you push it out. You don't want to break anything, but definitely take your time when you're popping these guys out. You don't want to rush it. There you go. And if you start to get, when it starts to come out, make sure you don't break off the pieces as you're pulling it out. Okay, pretty simple. And again, you can use your hoodoo bracket to pop all these out. Boom. Just like so. Pretty quick, pretty easy. There you go. And we actually use these. We'll throw them in our mud pit with our BBs. This guy uses airsoft BBs. You can use whatever you want, but most people use airsoft BBs. It's the most consistent and easiest and best looking, kind of. I mean, you could use actual sand, I guess, if you really wanted to, but then you're getting your truck dirty. The airsoft BBs are nice because they keep your truck nice and clean. Ta-da! And again, if while you're popping these out, you happen to crack something or break something, don't be scared. Just throw some glue in there and you'll be good to go. All right? There's all of our pieces. I'll kind of go through and just explain what some of this stuff is, and then we'll start putting it together. So obviously these are our bases. We get two of those. They're like puzzle pieces. They're what allow your floor to kind of connect and stay stable. We have all the walls for those. And then these are little connector pieces that are needed. We'll go into that later. Next, we have our entrance and exit ramp sides and the bases for those. These are the bases. These are the finger boards or comb boards. They go like this. And then this goes like this. Okay. All of these entrance and exit ramps are slotted for these. You can see there's two of each. You can mix them up however you want. You can try to do them in order like this, kind of in a more wavy type way, or just totally mix them up. We usually just totally mix them up, but I think for these ones, we're going to just kind of try to do them in like a slopey order. So we'll see how that works out. These guys are extra braces that go under here for when you're using these in different spots around the obstacle. These are top braces that go into our walls for stability. These also aid in stability. And then these are our hoodoos, and these are our hoodoo brackets. So you can see the little bracket goes into the hoodoo. Again, we'll show this in a little bit here, but you basically put a little bracket in the hoodoo, and then the hoodoo will go into here. Pretty cool. These are awesome. They seem very simple, but they're actually super awesome. So we'll dive more into that little bit later as well. So let's go ahead and start doing our graphics. We'll start gluing them, and then we'll get it put together. Now, when it comes to gluing these things together, I definitely recommend dry fitting everything before you start gluing it. Don't just put glue on there and thinking, oh yeah, this is the side we need to glue, and then you throw it on there. Oh, of course. And it doesn't match, or it needs to be on the back side. So definitely dry fit everything. Make sure that you know exactly where things are going to go before you start applying glue. See, like this is a good example. You have to flip it. Still not correct. Flip it again. Okay. There are two that are the same on these, and then one that's different, just to help kind of mix it up. There they go. And then with these guys, there's two of one type and two of another, so they may not fit one way. You have to flip them over, and there you go. And then same on these guys. There's two for one side and two for the other side. So those two go that way. And then these two we have to flip over and they go this way. All right. Now we just go ahead and apply our glue. We're going to just use regular old white glue. And just don't overdo it. Make sure you get enough on there to hold it on, but not so much that it's like squeezing out all over the edges. You definitely want to make sure you don't get glue in between the comb pieces or the fingers. If you do, you'll have to scrape it out with an X-Acto or something along those lines, basically inside these, if you get too much glue in there. And you likely will, but if you're careful, you can try to avoid it. Just want to make sure you get glue on all the edge pieces, like that. You can use a paintbrush as well. I know that in their build video, the official build video, they use like a little rubbery thing, but we're not going to do that. Okay. And then slap your graphic on. Make sure it's nice and lined up. And then we will generally put it face down and let it kind of get some weight on it. We'll stack them up. Just make sure you don't have too much glue. You don't want them to stick together, but you definitely want to add some weight to it. So we're just going to throw this guy in there for now. Now you can use just about any kind of glue or adhesive that you want. If you want to use some spray adhesive, go for it. If you want to use some of the thicker stuff or even super glue, I guess you could do that. Super glue is going to be hard because it's going to be hard to spread unless you've got a brush or something. You definitely can't use your finger there. But yeah, I think in the official Crawler Trax video, they use something called like Quick and Tacky or Thick and Tacky or something, some sort of adhesive. And they seem to like that a lot, and that it seems like it works well. Another thing I wanted to point out, the tolerances on these guys are actually taking into account the graphics. So when you have your base, if you don't put the graphics on, it's going to be a little bit looser than if you did have the graphics, because these slots here are cut a little wider than a non-graphic slot. So like all these slots that are not supposed to have graphics, you know, on the other piece that goes in, they're going to be thinner than the pieces that do have graphics. So again, if you don't put your graphics on, you might be able to have a little bit more play in there. These are cut with the graphics in mind, so they're just a little bit thicker. Just wanted to point that out in case you don't put your graphics on, that you might have a little bit of wiggle, a little bit more than if you did have your graphics. I recommend the graphics anyway because they're awesome. They just add to it. Plus, they put a lot of work into making awesome graphics for us, so you might as well use them. They include them. Just takes a little bit of extra effort here to add some glue, but nothing big. It's not like it's very difficult. And like you can see here, there's a little bit of extra glue in there. Just use some of your leftover pieces and just kind of go in there and scrape that glue out. That way you don't have to do it after it dries. That should just help you clean it up a little bit. Okay. Nice. One of the things that I like about using like a white glue or a water soluble glue is that if you get any kind of, you know, glue pushover onto the graphic itself, once it's all dry, you can always come back with just like a damp paper towel and clean it all up and get rid of that, you know, the glue that's on the graphic itself. Whereas if you're to use something that's not water soluble, good luck. You know, you're not going to be able to do that. So I definitely like that I can do that, especially on the stuff like this where there's holes and stuff in it, and you're likely to get glue kind of pushed through and onto the graphic. The water soluble glue is definitely a benefit there. I'm just using some wheels and tires here. Figure our wheels are pretty heavy, right? Like we've got, I thought these went the same way. Maybe not. Well, there we go. Figured our wheels are pretty heavy. They got brass in them, so that'll help kind of weigh them down. And actually, while these guys dry, let me go ahead and show you some stuff. We'll go ahead and do some hoodoo stuff. So these slots here in the center are for hoodoos. And if you don't know what a hoodoo is, it's a geological formation that happens with sandstone and whatnot. And they're like these crazy shaped pillars. Just Google it. Hoodoos, Hoodoo. It's not a made up word, but they're pretty cool. And so these kind of simulate that. These are stackable obstacles. And they go under in your mud pit underneath, and they help create uneven terrain under the mud pit. Now we hear rumors that there may be some obstacles coming that focus on these hoodoos, which would be pretty cool. So you basically take these brackets, these little hoodoo brackets, and you slide them in like so, and then you can slot them however you'd like in your bases. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw them in here. And actually it's easier to throw them on here and then put your hoodoo in. And now you have some terrain elevation. It's not much, but when it's underneath the rocks or the mud pit, it kind of does create different, basically non-uniform patterns as you're driving through, and your tires will hook and stuff like that. So it definitely makes the replay value very good. Plus you can do stuff like this and you can stack them, which is freaking awesome. Which I think is what they're going for when they do their hoodoo specific obstacle. It's going to be probably something very similar to this. And then you can just like build up much larger hoodoos. So, I mean, you can start to get some pretty good elevation there, which is awesome. You can go here and do stuff like this, right? And what's neat is you can flip them, right? If you don't want it like that, you can just take it, flip it over, get a little bit different shape for your topography. Very neat. And you can do that and even have them overhang and whatnot. So very cool. Now you may have noticed these little squares, the hoodoo bracket holes, are also here in the corners. And let me show you what that's about. We're going to need a little bit more space. So as you're building your mud pit, this is a standard mud pit. It comes with 2 boards, and you basically will never use these corner pieces. You will use them for these, but not for hoodoos, right? So you'll put this little bracket in there, and that's how you build your walls. That's what these little pieces are for. And then you can see there, that's how that kind of connects, right? That's what our top brackets are for as well. These pieces that are drying, they'll snap on top of here and hold together, and we'll show you that when we start to put together. But those holes are not just for this. It's also if you decide to make a larger mud pit. Say you brought 2 of these things and we made one big square. Bam! Now we have a huge mud pit using 2 kits. It ends up putting this hole in the center here. This hole is designed to be a drain, so you can actually lift up your mud pit once it's all together, and you can put your airsoft BBs or whatever you put in there, the container underneath, and then pull your hoodoo out, and they'll drain out the center. It just kind of helps get it all to go in one place. So this, when it's put together, you're going to need to cover with a hoodoo, and so we'll use our hoodoo brackets. Helps hold the center together. And then we can throw our hoodoo on there. So not only does it cover the hole, their drain hole, but it also helps give stability to the center of the obstacle here. So pretty sweet. And as you build out, if you bought multiple kits, you'll use hoodoos anywhere there's a drain hole, just for extra stability and whatnot. All right. So just a little explanation of the hoodoos and what these little holes here are about. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and start actually assembling one of these kits completely. So going ahead and building just the basic kit, we're just going to use our walls. We're going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 walls. It does come with 2 extra walls. Now, the reason for this is if you buy multiple kits, depending on the configuration, you're going to need the extra walls. So that's why it comes with the extra walls. Or if you want to make 2 separate one square mud pits, you could do that as well. But really the intent is for an expanded system. So it needs to come with an extra wall or two of those, depending on your layout. And then these little tiny walls, it comes with a third. And that third is also for if you expand and have different layouts with multiple kits. So that's what those are extra and why we have them. As an example, if you were to do an L shape with 2 kits, you would need to use 2 of these at any inner corner. So you can put this in here like so. And then you use your second one here. And then your wall. You would then use one of these to lock that in place. Awesome, right? Pretty simple. Definitely a cool design. And ever expanding. Again, you can build these as big as you want to buy kits for, which is pretty awesome. For now, we're just going to go ahead and build our regular single kit setup. You use these pieces on these straightaways. And then we'll use these corner pieces in the corners. These are designed to use only 2, unless you're on a inner corner. 2 of the slots, the other 2 are open, and that's going to be for something else. Those are going to be for when we put our entry and exit ramps in. They actually connect into these. And again, for the same reason that we have an extra one of these smaller walls, we have an extra one of these for when we expand. But there you go. All put together. Nice and stable. All of our walls are very sturdy. It's a very cool and very fun obstacle for sure. My favorite part is just how modular it is, how we can change things up so much with one of these little guys. Pretty cool. We even thought about how we could maybe, if we had more of these, we could build kind of obstacles in the way. If you had a larger pit, say you had a 4 or a 2 wide that went longer, and you wanted to put some squares in here, you could actually even make them look like little trees maybe in the middle of the swamp. If you had some little tree graphic and then a little topper on top of it for a tree, that'd be kind of fun, like a hoodoo that could stack on top for a tree. That could be really fun as well. I believe these hoodoos would fit in there just fine. Yeah, so if you wanted to like raise it up and have a hoodoo like that, that just kind of is in the way. Now you couldn't do it when you only had 2 pieces, 1 kit, because you definitely need to be 4 wide or 2 wide with 4 pieces to be able to get around it, because you're not fitting your truck through probably in any of these spots. But still kind of a cool thing. I like that everything is very modular, almost like Lego, where you can kind of reorganize things how you want, get creative with stuff. I don't know. I just like to try to test the limits of these things, but pretty neat. I know that they use these hoodoos and these hoodoo brackets on some of the other stuff. We got word on the giant bridge called the Valley, which we'll put a video right over here. Definitely check out the Valley. They're going to be using some of these hoodoo brackets and hoodoos for part of the base, and you know, again, I think as they design more obstacles using the parts they've already got, it's going to be really cool. Much like Lego, like I said, where you're able to kind of modularize and create your own stuff, create your own obstacles out of these little wood pieces. You know, be pretty sweet. Now we've got some hoodoos in there. Pretty cool. We're not going to put hoodoos here and here because that's where our entry ramps are going to go. These are, you know, when you expand, again, you'll be able to put hoodoos in more places. But for now, we're going to just put them towards the center. But it should be kind of fun. Extra little elevation in there, and you'll definitely feel it once your truck gets in there. All right, let's go ahead and build our in and out ramps. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of this guy and focus on the ramps. So we've already got our bases put together. There's 2 different like fingerboards or combs that look very similar, but only one will fit into the base. They're a little bit longer. Okay, so those are going to be your 2 base pieces. And then these go on the insides of these guys here. So I'll go ahead and show you here and here. And then we can just take one of these foot pieces, throw it on there. Just like so. And then we can take these guys and start staggering them in there, however you see fit. I said we're going to try Try to do them in this order and see how it comes out. We'll see. We also hear rumors that there's going to be a obstacle that's kind of based on these entry and exit ramps, which is going to be very cool. It's going to be like a King of the Hammers type thing. We actually have a little bit of a video over here, if you check it out, when we were at one of the Axial Fests, and Crawler Trax had brought out some prototypes. They actually brought out this prototype, the Mud Pit, the Valley Bridge, as well as this King of the Hammers type obstacle, which is very similar to this, but much bigger, and it's going to use the same pieces from what we understand. So that'll be super cool because you'll be able to mix and match pieces. If you own both obstacles, you can use the different pieces to make kind of a even crazier topography on your entry and exit on your entry and exit ramps, as well as the other obstacle, the King of the Hammer obstacle. All right, so that's kind of what she looks like. And again, you can arrange these in whatever way you see fit, whatever you think is best for your truck or the difficulty level you want, which is super awesome. You can flip them around. You know, even if you took this guy, just flipped it to the other side, it's going to totally change how you enter and exit this obstacle. Right? Even something like that. Very cool. Very, very cool. Let's go ahead and build our other one, and then we'll throw them on the pit. And bam, we kind of built them inverse. We put the larger ones on the entry point here versus the large ones on the exit, the part that goes into the pit. So just to kind of feel it out and see the difference. Kind of fun. I definitely love the modularity of this obstacle. Makes it more fun. I mean, you can just like reorganize things, try some rigs, get bored with that, change it up again. Freaking sweet. All right, so these go like this, and we need a mud pit. Now, when you're attaching your entry and exit ramps to the mud pit wall, this piece, the center brace, clips into these little slots here, right? So these little slots here, click into these slots here. And that's going to make sure that your outside foot and the inside of the ramp is level. So your feet on the inside of the ramp going into the pit itself should be nice and flat. Okay. Just like so. They're really stable. I mean, they're not going anywhere. So pretty awesome design there. There's a couple things to know if you're building or expanding or changing the angle in which, you know, things are entering and exiting the mud pit. So let's pull this guy out, and let's say we were to go here. You can clip this into these pieces. Unfortunately, it's not going to clip into this. So you can go ahead and put this in here. You've got one opening here. This doesn't actually come out far enough. You'll notice how much closer these are than this. But what you can do is clip this piece in. You've got a little bit of wiggle there with only that piece, but that's what these U-brackets are for. So these little U-brackets, you can slide right down in there, and they will clip into this top bracket and around the wall like this. And that just gives more stability. So that's what these U-brackets are for. Also, if you have them in a spot where they don't clip in at all to any of these pieces, then you'll just use two U-brackets to help hold it in. Pretty simple. But you can put your entry and exit ramps wherever you want on the obstacle, especially if you expand it and you have some crazy shapes. You should be able to put these just about anywhere using these U-brackets. Like I said, they just slide down in there. Now we just need to get our airsoft BBs. Let's go ahead and throw them in. You definitely want to make sure that you put all your entry and exit ramps and your hoodoos and all that kind of stuff in before you put in your BBs. Because once you put your airsoft BBs in there, getting the ramps in or the hoodoos in, it's kind of a pain because your BBs get stuck under there and whatnot. So definitely make sure you're set up how you want to be set up, then add your airsoft pellets. Now we're using these guys. I don't remember exactly where we got these. I'll have to look through my emails, and then I'll post it down in the description below. But I also think they're on Amazon, so we'll put multiple links if we can find multiple places to pick these up. They're pretty cheap. There's a 10,000 pound this guy is, and they work really well. We'll just dump them in. So one 10,000 count is plenty. If you have multiple pits, you're going to need multiple containers of airsoft ammo. We like this stuff just because it looks like mud. It's kind of multicolored, but they make a bunch of different kinds. They make white ones. I've seen people take and put white airsoft BBs and make it look like a snow pit, like you're going through the snow, stuff like that. Some more gray ones, so it looks more like it's rock, I guess. But you can see it completely covers our Hoodoos. You don't even know they're in there until the truck hits them. And then they're like, what is that? And they're putting on the Hoodoos. Very cool. Let me go ahead and show you about how deep it is. So here's an SCS 24 Gladiator. Oh, BBs everywhere. But we're hitting up on our Hoodoos. You can see the depth is still pretty good. I mean, if we take the Hoodoos out, it gets even deeper. So if you really want it more of like a mud pit that you're trudging through, maybe don't run the Hoodoos and you'll get a lot deeper in there. But if you want to have kind of a little bit of variance in the terrain under there, have your Hoodoos in there. You can see how deep it is. You could add more airsoft BBs, but just be aware that the more you add, the more likely they're going to spill out. So just be careful with that. Here's an AX-24. Again, these are lighter rigs. The lighter your rig, the easier it will get through this stuff because it just kind of floats on top. I mean, once the tires are spinning and whatnot, you'll see when we show it, but it digs itself in, so it actually drops in deeper. You can see up here. But the lighter your rig, the kind of easier it gets through here. So super heavy rigs might have a little bit harder time. But again, that's part of the fun, figuring out what kind of rig makes it through and just feeling the different driving dynamics depending on the type of rig that you're trying to drive through it. Another thing I really like about this guy is it's pretty stable, right? Like even with all the BBs in it, just got to make sure you're holding these brackets here. But like, I mean, you can pick it up and carry it and move it around, no problem. I've even seen them do when they do a 4-piece, be able to pick that all up all at once without having to worry about it falling apart. Pretty cool. I definitely dig that. So we're going to take this out to the other room and we're going to run it. Well, I hope that video was helpful and helped inform you on the Crawler Trax mud pit obstacle. We think it's a super fun obstacle. We dig that you can even use these guys kind of as separate little obstacles. You know, if you pull them off and just set them up on the carpet or on the ground, you can kind of crawl over them and change the topography. These little pieces here, you know, swap them around, make it difficult, make it easy. And that's, you know, independent of the actual mud pit itself. So that's cool. Can't wait to see the other obstacles that are going to be like this. Like I said, they're going to probably do a hammer, larger version of this. I also hear there's some changes coming to their valley that's going to help it have a little bit more modularity, I guess, customability. Yeah, it should be pretty cool. We've had so much fun with this thing that we ordered a fourth one. So we're going to have 4 of these kits now. We're going to do some cool designs and whatnot. You'll probably see them in future videos when we're testing trucks. So keep an eye out for that. It's too fun to not get just another one. So we did. Anyway, guys, thanks again for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. Do all those things you do at the end of videos you like. If you made it all the way through this video, why don't you put down in the comments below, getting dirty. That's right. We're getting dirty in our mud pit. Although we're not really, because, well, that's what's cool about the mud pit. You don't actually have to get your truck dirty. But yeah, put that down in the comments below. That way we know you watched the whole video. And if you plan to order a mud pit or anything else from Crawler Trax, don't forget to use our coupon code down below. We also have a link down there. Help support the channel and lets them know how you found them through us. And yeah, get out there and build something awesome. Build a car, build a course, build a community, then smash it, crash it, and bash it, but don't break the expensive parts.